Hey everybody, it's Rob with Long Island Sounds, the podcast, and with me is Ben.
Good evening, everybody. Ben Stein. I'm co-host here of Long Island Sounds, the podcast, and we are super excited to be here shooting at the Bolton Center for the Performing Arts today as our presenting location, I guess we should call it. And yeah, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, aside from our fantastic guest.
Yeah, aside from our guest, yes.
Let's do a recap about this past weekend. We had J.D. Serencaco's, his Back to the 60s show.
Yeah, one night back to the 60s.
How was the feedback with that?
It was a really good show. There was a lot of quality there between, both of them in their own right. I think could have put on their own, a singular performance in their own right. They could have done that easily. Lisa just
Was I wrong?
No, she blew my mind with her Janis Joplin renditions, and the band, they were just fantastic.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Doug Zahn and the Who. Like I said, I felt they could have each easily have had their own show.
Right, exactly.
But we were fortunate enough to witness two awesome bands in one night. So yeah, that was a fun night, and then
And that was sold out.
That was a sold out. We had a sold out weekend. Yeah, two sold out shows.
Yeah.
That and then Absolute Adele the next night.
Yeah, she did an amazing job as always.
As always, yeah, the whole group, the musicianship.
People wanted to get up and dance, but they felt a little restricted. Is that part of your policy? I know we at the casino had a policy where we couldn't, depending on the band, like Taylor Hicks. And he came to the casino and they told him that the crowd's not allowed to dance.
Oh, okay.
And he's the type of guy that feeds off the audience, so it was a very boring show. I like Taylor, but the show was just...
That's a hard restriction to place on. I mean, we don't tell, they paid for their seat, so
Right,
you're entitled to dance. I mean,
But you got to keep the egresses clean.
Yeah, no, as long as it's within reason, as
Yeah.
we like to say about a lot of things, as long as they're not in the middle of being able to access a fire exit or about to spill their drink onto an expensive piece of equipment or, whatever. Then
Right.
people, get up and kind of just move around, and we have some spaces where, I think we make do, but I know there were a decent amount of folks that probably just wanted to get up and just, stand up for the rest of the show,
Yeah,
because
they did.
it was high energy and they're a great group to work with.
I'm kind of pissed at myself though because my photography didn't come out.
Yeah, well, lesson learned, I think there will be other opportunities, I am sure.
I'd like to get a count of how many clicks are on my camera though. I know they can put it on a computer or something to see how many clicks, but that it's only good for X amount of, depending on the model of your camera. But I've had this camera for 5-7 years.
You might be due for an upgrade then.
And all the concerts that I do,
Yeah.
But I just can't justify
It's a workhorse.
if I was a paid professional photographer, then I'd say, just tell the old lady.
Yeah,
I'm getting another camera.
It would be much easier to justify in that case. Yeah, no.
But now they got the mirrorless, and I have to get mirrorless glass, or else I'm going to have to spend $150 on an adapter. So, but
Technology is crazy, man. The cameras, not even the cameras, just audio gear, lighting gear.
Yeah.
It's just the price has gone up every which way you look.
Yeah.
So, we just got to do our best to keep the tickets at a reasonable price.
Definitely.
So that we can, still keep the doors open, but keep people happy at the end of the day and
Right.
not leaving feeling like they paid a lot of money to see a really quality show.
So as the summer is rounding, spring's rounding into summer, what shows do you have coming up now?
This weekend we got American Girl, a tribute to Tom Petty. We got Adrenalize coming up, the Ultimate Def Leppard experience. Broken Arrow and Red Words coming back again. They were here last year. They did very well. It was a good show. A lot of things that fill into that until the summertime, and then we have some bingo over the summertime, some movie
We were
nights.
talking about that.
I think
It's a comedy show.
Yeah, it's a good mix of both. People really,
Yeah.
you can win some money and you have a great time doing it. Who doesn't love or reminiscing about the Golden Girls and that TV show? So if you want more information about that, go to our website and find out more, boltoncenter.org. I can't reveal too much, but it's a fun time.
Now you guys do a lot of genre. You're not genre specific.
Right.
You do the comedy show. You've actually in the past you've got the screen. You've done movies here. You ever do burlesque?
No. This was a dirty movie theater years ago, and I don't think that the owner of the theater has any intentions of bringing it back into that direction. So, Frank, I hope you're okay with me making that assumption. So, Yeah. Even though I have seen, burlesque events and things like that, I don't see that working its way into the Bolton Center anytime in the near future, at least. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I worked to run a cabaret, so.
Bay Shore is pretty conservative.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll work on it though.
We're not, but Bay Shore is.
Yeah. It's all right. They're coming around.
Yeah. So, but without further ado, we will take a quick break, and we will bring on our guest. And I'll let you introduce her.
Yeah. No, I am happy to introduce her, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. All right. We'll see you in a couple. All right.
Long Island Sounds, the podcast, is brought to you in part by the Bolton Center for the Arts. For info on upcoming shows and ticket information, visit www.boltoncenter.org or call 631-969-1101.
Love, I want you to think to yourself as you go out in the world, how are you going to be your own icon?
I used to float, now I just fall down. I used to know, but I'm not sure now. What is made for? What was I made for?
Welcome back, everybody, and our guest of the hour, Gina Bilardi.
Hey there.
Vocalist extraordinaire. I've heard some of your Gershwin stuff. That's like,
Oh, the jazzy stuff.
yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you first. Is like, how did you get your start? And the jazz stuff, how did you pick that up? Did you have a niche for that? Or?
Yeah. So my start into singing and music was all jazz and musical theater.
Okay.
I grew up a theater person in the theater world. I went to school for theater. I trained for theater vocally, and performed in theater. And then somewhere along the lines, I just wanted to start singing something different because I saw a different way to make money from it.
Oh, yeah.
The theater industry is a really tough industry to exist in, even though performing in musicals is such a valuable experience. So I basically had to find a way to retrain my voice to handle rock and pop.
Really?
So I went from singing jazz, singing musical theater all the time, singing the classics, to getting to learning how to put grit in my voice.
Yeah.
And then we went the rock pop route, and then that kind of changed everything from there because I didn't want to stay in the musical theater realm anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As you can see, they flew in their jets and their airplanes. I didn't.
Well,
Yeah.
I saw Ben with the glasses, and I was like, all right, well, I want to fit in here.
Yeah. It gotta be comfortable.
Yeah, I wear these on my actual motorcycle, though.
I do these because I have like the movie Big Daddy complex
Yeah.
where he's got to wear the sunglasses or else I.
All right, well, you know what? I'll take my
rock the look. I
They're
got
an
him back on.
accessory. I have very expressive eyes, so I want to
Whereas
make
mine
sure
are
it can be
for
seen.
my health purposes.
Hypnotized.
There we go. Now I'm honoring you both. I got them in my head.
Very cool. So you have a new group or a group that you recently formed. I know that you want to talk about. So
Yes.
let's hear about it.
I have a project I really want to talk about. So recently I created my own company called Rejection Cake Productions, which is a company where I wanted to basically marry some of my experiences from the theater world with the cover band, event band world. See, I sing in a lot of weddings, I sing in a lot of event band companies.
Gotcha.
I sing for NFL players' kids' weddings or
Okay.
politicians' kids' weddings.
Sure.
It's a really cool job. And it's cover band work. But coming from the theater world and liking being on stage and liking projects that have a little bit more purpose to them, heart, storylines, I wanted my company to create projects that mesh the two. So the first project I'm working on through Rejection Cake Productions is Gina B's Women of Rock show, which is essentially a theatrical, trailblazing tribute to iconic women in rock music, but integrated with some very theatrical elements, such as audio clips from the women themselves that we are actually honoring, a lot of video, a lot of multimedia aspects. There's times I'm even talking to the screen behind me and
Okay.
kind of connecting with that in the audience. There's monologues, there's vocal banter, there's question and answering for the audience, and there's also plenty of audience interaction with, I don't want to give it all away, but
Yeah. Well, you gotta come see
dance
it.
contests and other things.
Yeah, no,
So
answered one of my questions though. It is like it's scripted as well as being a concert to it. There's
Yeah.
actual monologue, like you
there's
said.
definitely a structure to it. It's very loosely scripted. The other big important thing is we are an impressionless tribute. I wanted to create a tribute experience that was not something that could be replicated. I wanted it to be very
Very good.
unique to us. And there is no impressions in our show. We perform music from about 16 to 20 different artists at every single show, with 3 lead female vocalists.
That's my question.
Yeah, so I'm just answering it all. I
Good,
figure, why
good,
not? I'll
yeah.
just
Perfect
pitch my
interview.
show. I just pitch my show because, hey, nobody knows how to pitch someone's show better than the own artist, right? And I put
100%.
a lot of heart and soul into it, but yeah.
No, you had mentioned earlier when you were talking that you mentioned Jill Joya. Is she part of? Because I did see her on social media with Women of Rock, and then I kind of like, are they intertwined?
So I'm happy you asked that, only because I think in the Long Island community it's important for all of us that are advertising shows to kind of signify that. So I've never met her. I just know she's incredible. She's got an amazing voice. And she's been around, you know, she's a little older than me. She's been around. She's done a lot of cool things. My show is in no way in relation to her. But I do know she does her own project, and please go see her because one of the important things about the Women of Rock brand is support and encouragement for other artists, especially women one.
Empowering women.
Empowering women. So please go see everybody's show because everybody's show is going to give a different flavor and a different perspective, even if it's a similar topic or genre. I know our show does something very different and unique, and I'm sure her show does too. So there's no relation. I thought of this concept back in 2019 when I was opening up for a Blues Brothers show in Atlantic City, and I kind of did my own mini version of this, and I was inspired by that experience to create something bigger.
Yeah, I'm amazed at the amount of talent. I've told Ben this many times on Long Island, and there's so much talent. And
There's so much talent.
just what are your thoughts about the? I'm not going to say oversaturation, but there's so many tribute bands out there.
Yeah.
And they do a great job. I mean, the first band I ever
do.
saw was Mystic Rhythms at Paramount. And I thought it was strange seeing a tribute band at the Paramount. Because
Yeah.
it's huge. I mean, the Paramount is a huge venue. So you would expect, you know, the nightclubs that are around here to, you know, cater to the tribute bands.
Yeah.
But here we are, a main stage. And you got tribute bands, so it's like it's all the time. So
So I have a big opinion on this because I think that we're in a day and age right now where everybody is fighting for feelings of nostalgia, be it because times are not always easy nowadays,
yeah.
and I don't blame us for wanting that feeling of nostalgia of way back when.
And it's easy to draw that smile from something simple
Yeah.
like a tribute artist rather than something you might
Yeah.
not hit you right away.
I get it. Like I really resonate with that, and I have like sympathy for it. I think people want to feel seen and heard, and sometimes hearing music from a band from yesteryear or something you connected to at a different point in your life is very comforting. So I can appreciate that and have respect for it. Coming from the cover band world, there was a lot of times where I felt like I was almost perpetuating a problem, being someone who is just constantly redoing music everybody else does. So it was really important to me when I created Rejection Cake Productions and my Women of Rock tribute. I was like, it can't just be about singing songs people know and love. It can't just be that simple. And personally, that's a problem I'm seeing in the tribute market out here on the island. It's people are just note for note trying to do an impersonation. And I'm sorry, but impersonations don't always work. Like, you know, we're not these people.
Yeah, everybody's different.
You know, it's okay to just be yourself too, and honor the people that you love and that inspire you. So for my production, I really wanted to like find a way to pay tribute, but also make it authentic enough
own it.
that it's our interpretation.
Yeah, sure, yep.
Yeah.
And we do that by like, you know, for instance, our show has a lot of medleys and mashups. You're gonna hear
Well, that sounds
songs
like
with
fun.
different arrangements. You're
Yeah.
not gonna hear it just like the record ever.
You're used to, right?
You have 3 great singers on 3-part harmony, sometimes a 4-part harmony. So if you're hearing a big rock tune, all of a sudden the band cuts out and we're screaming a 3-part harmony, screaming in a nice way. It's really powerful, and it's not something you're gonna get anywhere else because we're not doing an impersonation.
Right.
And then also, the other thing that I really wanted to accomplish with my show, which is a way I wanted to kind of remove us from the typical tribute show, is in the theater world, the idea is that you're creating some kind of work that leaves the audience in a state of self-reflection. You're affecting them. Your goal isn't for them to just watch it and be like, okay, great, that was great to watch, I'm gonna go home now. No, theater is meant to affect, it's meant to leave you with
It's an
questions.
experience.
So for us, that was such an important part of our Women of Rock production. And not to give it all away, but there's a moment in the show, at the beginning of the show, I ask the audience, I say, how are you gonna be your own icon? And then pretty much everything we do after that is to basically encourage the audience to find their own confidence and empowerment to fulfill that. And that's what makes it more of a theatrical experience and makes the audience feel like, oh wait, this is a movement. I'm a part of this, and we find a lot of ways to get them to be a part of it. And
Yeah.
I wish more tributes were moving in that direction, and just had more soul and more soul and more heart and more emotion. Because I think that's the big problem. Saturation isn't the problem, but when everything lacks any originality and authenticity, that's when we all just start like tuning out. It becomes dry and redundant.
Yeah. Now,
know?
going on that same angle though, if you're promoting a particular event at a particular place, is it based on a theme, or is it like you had mentioned that you come from a jazz background and that's what you like to sing, but is it going to be you singing jazz and somebody else singing Pat Benatar and somebody else singing Barbara?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So for Women of Rock, I definitely sing rock. We don't have any jazz in that show in particular. We touch artists from, say, the 60s, Janis Joplin, to Alanis Morissette in the 90s,
Oh, yeah.
the Cranberries, to, I don't want to give some of these away, but Kelly Clarkson, Pink, some of the more pop rock artists. And we do Pat Benatar and Blondie and all that. And we split the lead lines amongst the three female singers, and we actually all sing bits and pieces of the different artists, which also we find is a way that again, to really drive home that this isn't an impersonation, we're all going to show you the way we sing this material in our own voices, and then we're going to harmonize over each other. Yeah, I mean, I have other projects and other things I do where I get to bring out the jazz. I've had jazz trios. When I do wedding singing work or recording work, I get to flex those muscles. Like I just recently I wrote a top line for an EDM project.
Okay.
And I was, and that's currently being shopped to producers, so that I had to do like my pop vocals and my kind of songwriting, and that's a very different hat to wear outside of the Gina B's Women of Rock brand. But yeah, I love doing that too.
Now, I saw the library that you have on YouTube, and you are like all over the place with
Yeah.
with what you. Is there a specific genre that you like to sing more than the others?
You know, I ask myself this all the time because I think what I've been able to do, what I've been able to make more money with is rock and pop. Because being an event singer, you get paid for high-end events.
Sure.
Creating shows like Women of Rock. I found personally for me, having the skill of being a female rock singer was more profitable for me because less women were able to do it. However, my roots singing, Broadway ballads and Ella Fitzgerald and Elvis and like
Gershwin.
the Gershwin, those are my roots, and I love getting to do it. And I just wish it was easier for me as a full-timer to make money in those avenues. But being a full-timer in like say the musical theater jazz realm is really hard to do when you're also trying to be a full-timer and train your voice.
Sure.
In the rock pop realm.
Yeah.
I have a voice teacher that's very specific. Actually, him and his dad are Lady Gaga's voice teachers, one of their voice teachers. And, I have a very specific technique. I work with them for rock pop that is completely contradictory in a lot of ways to what I've trained musical theater and jazz. And if I'm going to switch in between projects that are that different, it's doable, but it's not so easy. You actually like have to take time to train and
Yeah.
like get your voice ready for the differences.
Right.
So I don't do as much of the musical theater anymore because it's just not really what's the opportunities aren't really coming to
Yeah.
me the same, and I'm getting a little too old for the days of.
Oh, stop.
Well, anyone that works in the musical theater realm and that does the open calls, we know that the lifestyle of being an actor and a musical theater performer is 80% of the battle because you spend more time auditioning and waiting on lines and getting rejection than you do actually doing the art and being a part of the art, and
Right.
that's really where you burn out.
Yeah.
And I didn't want my life to look like that, and that's why I started doing a lot of my own stuff because I was like, well, I just want to make my own rules,
Fair enough.
do my own thing.
Simple enough. Yeah. Honestly.
Well, funny you mentioned Lady Gaga because personally, just my opinion, I'm not a fan of her pop stuff.
Okay.
But when she got together with Tony Bennett, I'm just like, I love that album.
Yeah.
Like, she can really sing, and I'm not saying that she can't sing with her pop stuff, but that's just not what I like.
Isn't that
And
so cool
I
that she
saw
could
her
do
at
it
City
though?
Field in the pouring rain,
Uh-huh.
and it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Yeah.
She ended up having to cancel her next 2 dates on tour because she got pneumonia.
Oh my
Because she
God.
was on stage performing while it was pouring out, playing the piano, pouring her heart and soul out to
Yeah.
everybody that still showed up that were wearing ponchos and stuff, but she wouldn't wear any, like she just, her
Such a
outfit
beast.
and it was incredible. So yeah.
Professional.
That kind of passion is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
she's a great example of a vocalist who came from musical theater too,
Mm-hmm.
has that background, which is probably where a lot of her strengths have come from,
Sure.
because musical theater technique or like jazz technique, there's some really healthy vocal habits in there.
Yep.
That, you know, it's also classical. I did classical music and I love it, but
How'd you get started?
I had a 6th grade music teacher, a chorus teacher, who just, it was like her first year teaching, and she was so passionate and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and she took to me, and she liked my voice, and she saw I lacked a little bit of direction and confidence, and I think she just was like so loving, and took me under her wing and really pushed me.
Awesome.
That's a good
That's
teacher.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why I became a teacher. I became a teacher. I was
Oh, wow.
a high school theater
Yeah.
teacher. At one point, I left the entertainment industry, and I was like, I want to just teach and affect younger kids and build them up. Then I discovered public school teaching just wasn't for me. But I never regretted becoming a teacher because it's a very transformative profession.
Absolutely.
And I learned a lot about myself, and when you get to affect kids in a positive way, it's an incredible feeling.
Right.
We had some great content. I think we just talked about. Now, I hope this show sounds fantastic. I hope that it translates into seeing you on the Bolton stage sometime soon in the near
Yeah.
future. That we would love that. I think. And
Yeah. I did forget one thing.
Oh,
I
one thing.
forgot one thing that was really important.
The
There's
website?
so many things. Well, before that, you also asked one of the things that's kind of separate our tributes from other tributes. That's
Yes.
really important. One of the way I wanted to also push the sense of empowerment, empowering community, and empowering other artists is, I was like, no one really does opening acts for tribute shows, or if they do, it's other cover artists. And again, I wanted to be less of part of the problem. I'm trying here, even though I've just been a cover singer my whole life. So I was like, why don't we use that as an opportunity to get original, mostly female artists to open our show? That way they could share some of their original music, and then for the rest of the hour and a half, people are going to hear music they already know and love.
All right, folks, that concludes another episode in the Long Island Sounds podcast series.
In the can.
Yes, and we had a lot of great content today.
We did.
Unfortunately, the card did not get all of it because we had such a lengthy conversation, but there's still a lot of great content in there.
Yeah.
So thank you so much again for tuning in. My name is Ben Stein. This is Robert Armstrong. We are at the Bolton Center for Performing Arts, our beautiful presenting location for this shoot. And thank you very much also to Gina B for coming on the show today. It was
She was
fantastic.
great.
She was great to have her on today. So
We don't know we're going to be a next podcast. I actually have somebody lined up that I surprise guest next week, and it's going to have to be a Zoom, so they can't make it on location. So that's what's coming up next week, and then we're looking into some more guests, some more
stay tuned.
top tier guests. So yes, stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Long Island Sounds, and you can follow our content, subscribe, and you'll get emails as soon as the episode is available. So take care, Ben.
Yeah, I would be remiss if I did not mention the beautiful Bolton Center in this at the end. Thank you so much for hosting us. And for more info, go to their website, www.boltoncenter.org. They have tons of shows coming up. I'm sure you're going to find something you're going to like. So just please go on the website. There's probably 30 or 40 things at least listed up there for sale right now. So definitely do you a favor, go on the website or just give a call at the box office, 631-969-1101. Otherwise, thank you again for tuning in, folks. It was great to get some content out there this week, and we look forward to the next episode.
Yep. Take care.
All right.